I think it's 5 o'clock, so we'll go ahead and call our meeting to order. First order of business, we'll go ahead and review the minutes from, I think Tanya has the minutes from the last meeting.
I do. So this is the minutes from the last meeting that we held on March the 8th. So if everyone will look over the previous minutes and sign.
If everybody's had an opportunity to look over the minutes, we have a motion to approve the minutes.
Make a motion.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
All right, thank you.
Do you have anything else that we need to go over?
No, that's all I have for tonight.
Okay. All right, we got a couple of issues that we need to discuss tonight. I think one of them is involving a couple of candidates for commission. I think it's Philip Hood and Mr. Bradley. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
All right. Is somebody here from Mr. Bradley's camp that wants to make a statement?
Well, first of all, hello everyone. I'm Colby Badur from Pulaski. I represent Mr. Bradley. I sent Ms. White a letter basically outlining Mr. Bradley's position. I trust you all had an opportunity to go over it and read it. I'm happy to discuss any of the points made in it or that I overlooked in it with you. But basically, I don't think there's anything that needs to be said that isn't already said in the letter. It's our position that one of the signatures on candidate Hood's nominating petition was insufficient, and that the voter that signed is not eligible to vote in Lawrence County, just like I'm not eligible to vote in Lawrence County. And therefore, candidate Hood doesn't meet the 25 signature requirement, and his name can't appear on the ballot. So, it's all requested. It's my understanding that tonight, one of the purposes of this meeting is to approve the ballot for the August election. So on behalf of Mr. Bradley, I'm asking that you strike candidate Hood's name from that ballot.
Okay.
Thanks.
All right. Thank you. Does anybody have any questions about the letter? Any statements or anything on the letter? Mr. Hood, is he present?
Yes.
Would you like to make a statement, Mr. Hood?
Yes. My son went to college at UT Chattanooga. He graduated in May, but he got a job. He had a position before he graduated, and Walmart hired him. So he was going to go to graduate school and continue with Walmart. All right. Then he realized the position he had would not allow him to do that. But his plans are to come back to Lawrence County, whatever he's got to do. Own land here, own houses. They're going to go to him, and this is his home, and he wants it to be his home. But he was basically stuck in a situation of having a lease on a rental unit and a contract with Walmart and all that other stuff. But January, we hope he's home. So that's his plans, and that's really all I got to say. I mean, my understanding, he's a registered voter. You know, he's never voted anywhere else or asked to, and plans to come home here and stay.
So he's a registered voter in Lawrence County, but he didn't register to vote in Chattanooga.
No. No. The only thing he's done in Chattanooga, other than get a place to live and have a job up there for the interim, is he bought a car over there. He had to have a car. He wrecked his car. So other than that.
Okay. Thank you. All right. Y'all got a couple of statutes you can see that's in front of you that kind of talks about it. And I think Tanya wrote, you turned off another one, didn't you?
I did.
There's two here.
You've got two? Okay. Y'all got two of them there. One of them that jumps out at me is on the second page of your printout of your copy of that one copy that's 2-2-122, page number 32. Everybody see that? Roger, it's on the other page there. That one there,
Okay.
on the second page. And it's number 4. It says a person does not lose residence if within the definite intention of returning, the person leaves home and goes to another country, state, or place within the state for temporary purposes, even if 1 or more years duration. So according to this statute, if he's planning on coming back, has intentions to come back, to me that number 4 kind of covers that. Anybody else have any comments that they have to say about it? From my understanding, he moved to Chattanooga to go to school. He went to college, graduated. I think Mr. Hood said he graduated college last year.
Yeah, last May, and he was offered a job by Walmart in April.
Was his intentions to continue school
His
in
intention was to
Chattanooga? Or-
continue school, right? And then he found out it was just too much of a load for him at this time to handle that. So he's planning on coming back home regardless if he keeps that job or not the first 2 years.
Acquisition, surrender, and inhabiting the property of another person in person's occupation. Registration of person's personal property, payment of taxes.
You get Charlie's.
Yeah. Did he vote 2016?
Did he what?
Did he vote 2016?
Um,
Is his name still registered here?
Yeah, he is definitely registered. Now, I don't know if he voted in 2016, but he's registered. And he's not registered in Hamilton County, which Chattanooga is.
Do you know if he voted?
I can't really remember, but
I mean,
I think he did, because we're big about
We can,
voting.
John-
we can check.
John David Hood.
Yeah, we can find out. Mr. Hood, does he own his residence or he rents?
Oh, he rents,
He doesn't, okay.
or a lease, whatever you want to call it. It's up in May,
Thank you.
1st of May.
Which part?
The following factors among other relevant matters may be considered in terms of personal residence, the person's possessions, acquisitions, surrender, habitable property.
I would ask him to clarify that. I don't know.
I would too.
The number, you just talking about age?
Well, see, it's this, and then it lists that, that's what it's talking
No,
about.
no enforcement, but it's a B listing under
This,
this.
too.
Another thing you guys, I can point out is these are
Principle for determination of
factors involved, and it says they shall be made. This over here.
Says that may
Yes.
be considered. That may be considered this
Driver's
is
license
shall
still
be
has the old
considered.
address too, as if you want to.
Chris.
So what he's wants to clarify.
It's when it's
This first part, A, says that these factors shall be considered, and then the B part says they may be considered. So,
Did you talk to Trey about it?
Trey Hardy? I have not spoke with him, but we have spoke with other election attorneys up there.
Okay.
Beth Robertson, Beth Henry Robertson. I spoke with her on this issue, and then also we have spoken with Andrew Dodd on the other issue up there.
And
2, 3, 4.
what's our
Yeah.
ultimate goal here today? The ultimate goal is to decide.
I mean, yes, I mean, they wanted to present their challenge to y'all.
Okay.
we have, I mean, as far as making a decision, the only thing that's holding up anything is we hold up the ballot. That was hopefully we were going to be able to set the ballot tonight. So the office can start getting ready for the election. But if we don't make a decision tonight, if you do want to table it and want to have a recess on it or something, then we'd have to hold the ballot up for a few days until we can make a decision. But if you look at you can continue on, maybe look at 2-2-122 on number 2. It says the change of residence is generally made only by the act of removal joined within the intent to remain in another place. There can only be one resident. And number 3, it says a person does not become a resident of a place solely by intending to make it the person's residence. There must be appropriate actions consistent with the intention.
Well, my opinion is he intended to come back. He didn't have his license changed, driver's license changed. I mean, that was, to me, that's, being ex-military, I had a license for 20 years. Same one. Never changed mine. And I moved around a lot. That tells me that he has intent to come back. If he'd go and stay there, he would have changed his license.
Have anything, Roger, to add?
No, I agree with that. I do too. See, even here, determine your residency, it says right here, whether a home is owned or rented. He's renting, he's definitely renting, he doesn't own it. Where the individual's family is located.
This is the voting history, Dan. Part of it is.
So he didn't vote in 16. He was registered over there, told you he wanted to vote, so.
Yeah. That's another thing I think can be considered.
Yeah.
And it mentions it in the law. It mentions the registration to vote. There's a lot of different factors to consider.
So you registered to vote and you got your license changed. He didn't change his license.
Right.
Well, it states in the rule, in the law book, that a person does not necessarily change their residence by moving for college or for armed
Absolutely.
forces or something like that. They're still a registered voter in their hometown. I know he graduated school, so you kind of have to take that into consideration when you're thinking about it. But you also got to take in consideration, it says his intent of what he's going to do. Not necessarily, it said you could be there for up to a year or even more, it says, 4 years.
Undetermined amount of time.
So basically, as long as you're
Down to intention.
right, it boils down to your
Your
intentions,
intentions.
what your intentions are, what you're going to do. If you're intending on staying there, then you would think you would register to vote over there.
Change your driver's license.
Change your driver's license.
Settle in.
Yeah, that's a good point. But any other discussion on it? Any other questions?
Gentlemen, before y'all make a decision, talking a lot about his intention, I just would point out, we haven't heard from John David Hood today. I've got kids. I've got the best of intentions for them, but like many of y'all, sometimes our kids don't do what we want them to do. I don't know what John David Hood's intentions are. I'm sure his father has a better idea than all of us what they are, but John David Hood, to me, is the only person that can speak to what John David Hood intends.
I imagine he's over in Chattanooga, right?
Do we have a motion on the table to act on this at this time?
As you talked with the other lawyers, Tanya, what was their sentiment?
We've got the county lawyer here, right here, so
Yes. What's his son?
if you want to ask him a
Charlie?
question.
What do you think, Charlie? As far as,
I think it'd be appropriate to make a motion to deny the objection. I think it's significant that he's not changed his voter registration nor his driver's license, which proves intent to, at this stage, his residence.
make a motion that we do?
Well, I'd say deny.
Deny, I mean, that we do
Deny the objection
deny the objection.
and approve
His
Mr. Hood
qualifications.
to be on the ballot.
I do, I make that motion.
can say it.
I make the motion that we deny the rejection and approve Phil Hood for the board, for the,
Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, all in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you. All right, I think the next issue that we have to discuss, I think, is with Jerry Campbell and Corey Rochelle. Jerry is oh, there we go.
Jerry's here.
Jerry's
representing.
representation is here, so we'll let them talk and we'll go from there.
Gentlemen, thank y'all for hearing us out today. We're here today specifically relative to the signatures on line 10 and 11 of Mr. Corey Rochelle's petition for the seat of School Board District 6. Those signatures indicate to be owned by Rhonda Burdishaw and Barry Burdishaw. The law is clear in a number of places that each petition must be signed by individual voters, such that 25 voters should have individually signed this particular petition. We have had these signatures evaluated by Mr. Donnie Ferguson, who is a certified forensic document examiner with over 22 years. You may remember him from the Lawrence County Sheriff's Department. He is a certified handwriting expert. These are copies of an original I have if you would prefer to look at the original. I'm going to give Charlie the original to look at.
It's
10 and 11.
yeah, 10 and 11 on the second page.
The law is clear about each signer must sign. It's the opinion of Mr. Campbell as well as several just lay observers and Mr. Donnie Ferguson that both Rhonda Burdishaw and Barry Burdishaw names were signed by the same person. Mr. Barry Burdishaw's signature does not match his registration card, but there are lots of similarities between the signatures and Ms. Rhonda Burdishaw's registration card. Out of curiosity, we asked Mr. Ferguson to also evaluate Rachel and Chad Moore, thinking they are husband and wife, signed next to each other, may look similar. He found that both Rachel and Chad individually signed their names, that there was no similarity there. If this board finds that one person signed both of those names, then that will disqualify Mr. Rochelle, as he will only have 24 names on his petition that qualify. Otherwise, and he will not be eligible to be on the ballot this year. We're asking that that this commission find that, please. Any questions?
What's the sign?
Well, you know, one thing we definitely have to take into consideration is the office, this office has already went over all the names and have accepted the names as they are now. As a commission, of course, we've got to make a decision on, we got to rule on this, but we also need to keep in mind that the office has already approved all the names. Now, I can respect them getting a legal handwriting expert, but I don't think our office has any legal handwriting experts. I don't think we need to hire any to go over every application and every qualification paper that comes through to determine if it was completely, I mean, we have an obligation to uphold the law and to look at it and to make an opinion, I guess, of whether we think it is or not. But as far as a handwriting expert, I mean, we aren't, nobody in this office, I think, are handwriting experts.
We wouldn't assert or expect you to be. We just, in support, I know that it's real easy to object to things, and sometimes there can be at least the allegation that somebody is trying to do so to postpone the election or the process. And in this situation, I just wanted on behalf of Mr. Campbell to assure the commission that it's with good intention that he's here to try and uphold the law and participate as an integrity-filled candidate as his position.
The one question that I would have for Mr. Campbell, if he wouldn't mind answering, it was brought to my attention that he actually asked about a husband and wife signature before he even got a copy of this. So did somebody tell you that they didn't sign, or did you have some proof or something that they didn't sign for each other?
I had no knowledge until I got a copy of the
Well, I mean,
full-time petition.
when you came into our office, they said you asked if a husband and wife could sign before you even got a copy of the papers. So
I may have. I don't recall, but
I mean, to me, on line 10, if you look at line 10 and 11, Burdishaw is not even, look at the end of Rhonda's. It's not even, look at the W. I mean, I'm no expert either, but look, I mean, that's not even the same. I mean, there's nothing about it the same. I don't know if you're measuring the pressure or the depth that you're mashing down or what, but that the last of the Burdishaw does not look the same to me. And look at the B in the printing of Burdishaw and Barry and Rhonda. That's not even the same kind of B. I mean, I like I said, we wasn't there, we didn't witness it, and I'm no expert, but I mean, if you wanted to pick at it, look at Jeremy and Danielle Busby. They look alike too. But I'm, like I said, I'm no expert.
What we got to look at here is not what's on here, but what they signed back when they registered to vote. The signatures don't even come close to what's on this paper here.
Oh, your signature.
Let's pull our, I'll pull mine on.
Hang on a minute.
You got yours?
I actually did this yesterday. Tanya's got a copy of it. I told her to make a copy. I actually signed my name. I signed my name in her office before I pulled my voter registration card. And this was my signature in 1988 on my voter registration card. Now, if we're gonna go down that road, then we may be just every application or qualification paper I sign,
question every one of them.
You would throw mine out because.
I see
this? Yeah.
Oh, I sign my name every time I write a check.
I mean, it's totally, mine is totally different. Now, we just got to decide if we want to go down this road.
this might be a silly question, but it's a simple question. Did anybody ask the Burdishaws, did you sign your own name?
No, I have not talked to the Burdishaws. Now, I guess Corey, if Corey wants to say something, Corey, you wanna have a comment? I guess you can have a comment, yeah, you haven't said anything.
I have zero political experience. You could probably ask Stephanie and them from coming down here and getting this started. Even initially when I came and picked up my paperwork, if you'll go through my names, I didn't even know that you had to have, the registered voters had to be in your district. I just read the papers that they gave me. It said 25 registered voters. It didn't say anything about in your district. I went and got a bunch of signatures, and the signatures that you have that on that in that particular group, you'll find that most of them are probably parents of kids on our Lawrence County High School softball team. That got done one night at a ball game. I helped coach the Lawrence County High School softball team. I gave it to a buddy of mine. I said, hey, I got to get some signatures. Let me go get my paper and you help me out. Fine. He starts hitting people up. I do know this. I know my brother was there. I know my sister-in-law was there at the game. That's one thing I have adamantly tried to explain to Jerry in a couple conversations. The people he's questioning is my brother and sister-in-law. Now, I know that's probably technically not what it gets down to, who signed or not. I'll be honest with you, I haven't asked them. I don't want to know. And at the same time, if it was your brother or sister-in-law, you probably wouldn't want to ask them too. So, which to be honest with you, has nothing to do with it. They were there. I got the paperwork and had it passed out, got it signed. 2 or 3 days prior to the deadline, another school board member said, listen, these have to be in your district. So I made a phone call down here. Matter of fact, I asked Stephanie, I said, do these have to be in my district? Yes. So one Sunday afternoon, my wife and I ride around, hit people in our neighborhood. I get signatures. I think I got enough. I bring them down here. She calls me back. No, you don't have enough. You got to go get some more. I come back down here and pick it up. I go back and get some more. I bring it in on Wednesday. She calls me Wednesday afternoon, Thursday morning, whenever it was. Hey, you're good. You're qualified. You're good to go. So that's the last I hear of it until obviously this comes in. My thing is this. I only witnessed probably 8 or 10 people sign that. And that's it. If I have to validate every single signature, I think the system that we go about doing it is wrong. Because if we have to validate each and every signature, it ought to be notarized, where it ought to have to come down here and say, I want to sign this for Corey Rochelle, and somebody from the election commission office sees that person, identifies that person. When I show up to vote, I have to give them my driver's license so they can identify me. But yet we have the right to just freely pass this around because, listen, if he wants to question them, y'all just question them all. Same thing. I mean, I haven't called and looked at his paperwork or not, but it would be easy for me to say, I don't believe this person signed it, or the other 48 or however many people we had signed it. I didn't see them sign it. And again, I didn't see the majority of those people sign it. I seen a few. I went to a buddy of mine's having a family get together, and all those people lived in my district, and I got about 10 in one place. So I seen those people sign it, but I don't know what else to say other than that. I mean, it was pretty simple. I passed it around. I know my buddy said, here, sign this. This is what it's for. I get it back. I can tell you, I know they were both there. Y'all are talking about how you sign things. I've got thousands of documents that when I sign my name, it could look a million different ways. And I got half of them in the truck. So that's my side of it, I guess.
Thank you.
My opinion, I think it's signed by both one person. That's how I feel about it. One person signed with both names. They look too much alike not to.
If I may, I'm not a handwriting expert. I did work for the FBI as a fingerprint technician. I have had some handwriting classes, and it's obvious to me the same person signed that. It's obvious. I go by the law. It's the law. I forget what the TCA code is. That you have to have, a husband can't sign for his wife can't sign for a husband. We have a handwriting expert that y'all can read what he says.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Did the handwriting expert check all those?
The handwriting expert checked Rachel and Chad Moore's and found that those were 2 different signatures.
Okay.
And then checked Rhonda and Barry's and found that they were signed by the
So
same
those
person.
were the only ones?
Yeah.
Okay.
But he doesn't say that in his affidavit.
Doesn't say what.
He doesn't say about the,
It doesn't just say checking any other signatures. It doesn't say who he's certified by. It doesn't say whether judges have always approved him as an expert witness. Matter of fact, I can personally say, I've had judges say that they did not give Donnie Ferguson credibility as a handwriting expert. So you can take that for,
I'm not a handwriting expert. I'm like you, Stephen. I see differences.
The
Things are
B,
different.
I can see differences and I can see
What do you look for?
yeah, I mean, we're no expert. I mean, I don't think they hired us to do that or got us
Okay.
here to do that. I
Let
mean,
me,
the B in Burdishaw in the beginning of the signature is totally, that's a completely different B. That's a different B. Maybe one of them wrote the rest of it, but they didn't write the B. I mean, look at the B. And look how she ended, or he ended Burdishaw versus hers and his at the end.
If I may, the W at the end is curved, and you could lay the IR on top of each other and match perfect. You know, like y'all said, you're going to have a little different handwriting, but it's obvious the same person wrote this.
Well, I ain't saying it because, I mean, I didn't witness it. I mean, I can't, I'm no expert, so I can't, me personally, I can't say that the same person wrote it. I mean, like I said, if you can look at, I mean, who's to say that some of yours ain't that way, or some of these others that Corey's got on here that, and I don't, they just check 2, they check.
well, I mean, by the rule of law, like you said, you cannot sign, someone else can't sign for you, you've got to sign your own. And we, as a election office, our duty is to look at each signature. We're supposed to verify that they're in the district. We're supposed to verify that they are a registered voter in that district. And it says that we're supposed to look at their handwriting to see if we feel like it's a qualified handwriting. Now, to me, that kind of, you're opened up for a lot of things. Now, only thing that I'm concerned with is whichever way we rule on this, are we going to get a decision every year now, every time somebody brings qualification papers, or are we going to have to get a handwriting expert to look at every single signature that's on this? It may come down to, like Corey said, they may end up having you come into the office and actually have to physically bring your driver's license and sign somebody's qualification papers. I took the liberty and pulled Mr. Campbell's papers just to look at them, and going by that, I mean, if we want to open that box, there's probably 5 or 6 names that I see that looks like the same person signed. Bronson Slater and Angela Slater, both of them used a $ in their S.
That's right.
I've never seen a husband and wife use the same sign in their name.
That's obvious. I mean, I'm
just looking at that one, just glancing over it, I thought, well, that kind of looks.
So that's obvious, correct?
Yeah, using a $ in your name, yeah, that's a pretty obvious.
And
I mean, an I and R.
same thing with Burdishaw's, obvious.
You said an I and R
Obvious.
looks the same.
The I and R you can lay on top of each
To
other.
me, an I and R is not the same as a $ in your name.
And may I add up one other thing? I did talk to Mr. Andrew Dodd, the attorney for Trey Hargett's office, and he agreed with me.
So we're saying it's obvious that these 2 people, one person signed both the names?
On his papers, yes.
That's obvious.
I'm not going to disagree with it.
And then
I don't know.
Well, the only thing.
He don't either.
Well, the only thing that I'm saying, Mr. Campbell, the only thing that I'm saying about it is I went back and looked at yours, and I probably could get enough names to dispute their handwriting to where I could disqualify yours too. I mean, I really could, and I think we could almost do that with every single person's qualification papers that came in this office. If we wanted to sit down and disqualify somebody as a candidate, we could probably come up with a reasonable explanation that we could disqualify them for.
And that's a different subject. I don't disagree with that, you know, but I'm here to prove the fact that same person signed that, so that should disqualify, or not qualifying him.
And I don't envy your job or this office's job. I ran one time. That'll probably be my last time. I didn't care for it. Finding folks that could vote and would sign are all very difficult. But in reviewing this, also, for instance, Mike Rochelle on page 2 signed living at 1607 Whippoorwill Drive, Lawrenceburg, Tennessee. And then there was a notation over there by number 5 that no already signed. Where it was signed again was Michael Rochelle, who signed with Jackie Rochelle, also living at 1607 Whippoorwill Drive. So the odds of Mike going by Mike and Michael and signing the same petition twice, I don't know. And unfortunately, the statute is unclear about what the burden is on that. However, this office did view that there is a Mike Rochelle at this address that signed twice. Maybe one of them's right, I guess.
Mike Rochelle and Mike Rochelle is the same person. Just so happens he's my dad.
Right.
He goes by Mike and Michael.
By law, they can sign Mike or Michael.
But both on the same petition?
Well, I don't think they
Actually,
Right.
it was on 2 different petitions because,
it wasn't accepted.
well, what happened was when I learned of they had to be in my district, I actually sent my dad down here to grab me an additional paper to go get more signatures on, and he just went ahead and signed it. My mom hadn't signed it, so he went by her office. She signed it, so they were both on there. So his name was on there twice on one set of papers and then on a copy of another set. And he signed one of Mike, one of Mike.
If you look beside his name of the Mike Rochelle, when it says no already signed, that means they didn't count his name.
Right.
You know, I don't know, guys. I mean, it's one of those situations that, you know, if we rule in Mr. Campbell's favor, we've got to make the decision. Do we want to have to go through this on every qualification paper? If anything looks halfway similar, are we just going to knock? Are we going to knock everybody's names off if they look similar on an application? On a qualification paper and make them go
I
get
think you're
more?
missing the point here. The candidate should be out there personally going around his district, getting signatures, to verify the signatures when he get them done. To hand them out to other people who go out and do his job for him, I mean, I find that almost, you know, like he's really not serious about running. No, that's part of the candidate's responsibility to get signatures, not to, you know, hand them out so everybody else go get his friends to do it for him. Then you open yourself up to this.
Well,
if he goes out himself and does
as a candidate,
he knows.
You know, you may think that's the way you may want to do it, but as a commission, we got to go by the law, and the law doesn't say they have to go out and get the signatures by themselves. So,
but in my opinion, both his signatures were done by the same person.
So was these and these.
Maybe. Yeah. Well, then that's not being debated right now.
Okay.
do you have anything to add, Mr. Charlie? Do you have anything to say on it?
No, nothing else.
Okay.
That's what I wanted to say.
I'll make a motion that we deny to remove Corey from it because of that, because like I said, you're opening the door for every time we come down here, we're having to do it. I mean, every time I make a motion that we
Deny his.
deny.
Well, I
his
think
access.
for us to deny him the ability to run, they would have to prove to me beyond
A reasonable
a
doubt.
shadow of a doubt that this was the same person that signed. I don't see that. And our office
I
didn't
feel
see
like-
that when they reviewed the first time. So,
I don't want to be in a situation where we're determining the winner of a race. I think our office is like in a sports analogy. We're referees or umpires. We're not supposed to determine the ending of the game or whatever it is. We're going to determine the end of this race. If we disqualify him as a candidate, then we've basically chosen the winner. And that's something else that you got to think about. Yes.
And that's not, you can ask for a paper ballot. Candidates all the time do that. I think we have to go by the law. State law says that you can't allow a husband or a wife to sign. Well-intentioned spouses cannot sign. It's obvious. I can't see no other reason but to look, when you can lay it on top of each other, it's almost exactly alike, except for maybe the W, but it's because they went back and scratched it again. It's just obvious. And I had an attorney with Trey Hargett's office agree with me. Mr. Andrew Dodd.
I talked to Mr. Andrew Dodd.
And what did he say?
He said they look similar. But he did say it was the commission's job to make a decision on it. He said, I can't tell you how to make a decision.
Also, the voter registration cards. We rely on those for absentee ballots. When somebody signs that and they do an absentee ballot, we use that signature on that card to verify that ballot. So if you look at those signatures, Rhonda's matches are pretty close. Not 100%, but pretty close. Barry's don't match at all. If there was an absentee ballot, we have to disallow that ballot because of that reason, because it would not have matched. And that's what we got to go by. By law, if you're voting absentee, that signature didn't match. That's how we do it. Absentee ballot, we vote.
Yes.
We send out the military, we vote by the signatures, registrations. So that's all you need right there.
Who validates what you're talking about when that vote is cast? Who checks that?
We vote when an absentee ballot happens.
Okay.
It's signed by that person who votes. They send it back to us. We validate that ballot by matching a signature with the voter registration card.
Okay. Who does?
It's office stuff. We got a machine that does that.
Okay.
So.
All right. So would it be possibly the same people that approved it to begin with?
It would be the same.
It would be the same people.
Okay, so if they approved it on the front end, you're just saying that it wouldn't be approved if he come down here and voted?
I don't know.
Or if you were the one that was doing it. I guess that's what I'm saying.
All I can do is an opinion. Looking at this signature of Rhonda's.
No, I understand what you're saying, but what I'm trying to say is...
signatures of Barry's, they're two different ones.
I understand, but what I'm saying is that if it was approved on the front end and that was supposed to have been done, that signature versus their voter registration card, but you're saying that it shouldn't, but it already has been done. The only difference is they didn't come down here and early vote. They signed a qualification ballot
I'm
versus
saying
their...
that we use the voter registration card to verify signatures.
Yeah, I got one right here. And what I was looking at...
No, not that card. I'm talking about this card right here. This one we use right here.
Okay, but what I'm trying to tell you is,
that one when they
if you compared those two right there, would you approve me to vote?
What dates were those signed? What was the dates those signed, Dan? Their voter registration cards? When they registered, when was they signed?
Okay, Rhonda's match is pretty close to right now. Her signature.
When did they sign them? What was the date?
What was the date?
95.
95 and 89.
23 years ago.
So.
Well, Rhonda's match is pretty close to still, but Barry don't match at all. So, I mean.
But what is that?
No, I don't. My opinion is that they should be disqualified signatures.
The expert looked at them, his opinion was they was same signature, same person.
And the same expert that he said that should not be called an expert.
Did he say that?
He said
He's been disqualified as an expert.
Well,
in the past.
It says I'm certified, but they have it doesn't say who certified it. I'm not sure you can be certified to prove it.
I mean, this is a piece of paper that, anybody could have done on something and said they were certified. I mean, it's not anything there's not anything, we're going by a piece of paper that somebody could have done on a
He's
computer.
an ex-county sheriff employee. I'm sure he's a good moral character.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I'm sure he is. Most people
I don't think he would put his name to something, I don't know if it's notarized or not, and not be truthful.
I'm a good moral character, but I can't tell you who signed one.
And the expert can.
I just think in this office, if we're going down that road, we're gonna be opening up Pandora's box, that we're gonna have to look at every qualification paper. If somebody's not
We
happy,
look at it,
if
we
they're
do
afraid,
look at
if they're afraid, I don't know what it's,
qualification
if they're afraid they're gonna lose, then they're gonna come protest qualification papers because they don't wanna, they don't wanna go fight the race. They wanna just win in here in this office. And I don't want this office to be the place that determines the winner and losers of races. I want it to be done in a ballot box, and that's where it needs to be done. So in my opinion, I say we disqualify his application. We turn down
We've
the
already got a
application.
motion on the
I've
floor.
already got
I
my
second
motion.
the motion.
He seconded the motion.
All right, I think we need to go around the board with a verbal yes or no on this motion.
I made the motion.
Okay, we still got to vote.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
No.
Roger?
No. Yes.
Yes. Motion carries.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you.
Ma'am. Thanks so much. That's nothing further of us. Thank you.
Thank you.
I couldn't do a signature the same way if I put my name.
They've already been approved. The application's already been approved through the office.
I agree.
And if we go back and change it, then everybody's
Looking
gonna
at the
bring, we just,
signatures, I can't.
I mean, I've seen a lot of them look
You don't
familiar.
feel 100% comfortable. Yeah.
I don't.
So,
That's how I
can we
felt.
disqualify a man because we,
I don't think so. I don't think that's this office's job. I think our job is to look at them. They've already looked at them. They made a determination to start with that they thought they were right, they were good, and I'm not an expert enough to go back and change their decision.
Mr. Chairman, you need to.
No, sir. Thank you for
Thank you, Charlie.
Appreciate it, Mr. Charlie.
Yeah. Thank you for coming on.
All right, is there anything else that we need to discuss? Do we have to do anything else today?
The precinct that we talked about, we'll talk about that real quick. The meetings.
Yes, we have one precinct, E.O. Kaufman is requesting that we move the precinct out of E.O. Kaufman into Pulaski Street Church of Christ. Now, do we want to try to make this move this year? Kaufman is willing to let it stay this year, but if we move it this year, then we're going to have to send out letters to everybody in those districts to be able to notify them there's such change in the precinct voting place.
And the reason is the location. You know, Kaufman has been in the precinct for years, but the parking is becoming more of a problem. And the safety, I mean, the whole safety thing, I think because it's always separated from the entrance of the school, you've got people coming in to their building unsecured or whatever they have to check. So I feel like it's a good move. You know, they requested it, and Pulaski Street Church of Christ, I went over and looked at it one day this week. It's very, very nice.
all your ADA stuff
Yes.
up far.
All of the disability, the ramps, the parking, it's a huge fellowship hall, bathrooms. I mean, it's very nice. So, you know, that's an option that we have.
Still in close proximity. And they agreed to do it for how long at E.O. Kaufman this year?
They're not trying, yeah,
That was.
yeah.
But do we want to go ahead and make the move? I mean, we wouldn't do it on a May election, but
No, but we could try
August.
to get it ready for August. I have mixed feelings about it, you know, it may be confusing since it's in the same election year for the voters.
Oh, it will.
yeah.
They'll show up, so I've always voted either.
Well, we had
Yeah,
the-
I mean,
We
we
had
have
the
to,
same thing in Loretta a few years ago when they took it among themselves to move it to City Hall instead of the Civic Center.
Yeah.
so I guess we can, I don't know. I don't know. I really don't know if it's best to do it this year or wait till at the beginning of a whole fresh new election year.
I think that's, I
That'd be
feel
better,
like
yeah.
it's,
Dan shaking
I mean,
his
how
head.
long have they been at Kaufman? I mean, if they've been there that many years, I mean, what's,
Forever.
one more year probably,
Yeah.
and be less confusion, where we can start advertising it and get it out. Like you said, if we vote, if
2
they vote
years
in
to
May,
do
if they vote in May at Kaufman, and then we
Yeah.
change it in August, then they really are gonna be confused.
He'd be really upset with you.
So,
Yeah, it's doable, but we're all in agreement, it's a little bit much to throw at them. And we don't like a lot of confusion with our voters.
No, you don't want
We all
that.
know that.
And
And still be some come through the door.
Yeah, so.
It's adding up as it
Say, I
is.
won't vote here.
It's over the top, though. The whole building that they've offered to let us use is so nice. I'm really excited.
yeah, it's very nice. It'd be a good facility to vote in. Like you said, the ADA, the handicap stuff would be great. Right now, Kaufman is so far from the road. I'm sure it's more difficult for handicapped people to be able to get there to vote, so it would be a good idea to get it moved. But, so y'all want to hold off and move it, wait till after this election?
So,
Sounds good.
All
All right, anything else?
That's all.
You have a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? Thank
Aye.
you. Thank y'all very much.